to get some kind of attachment that goes with my drill, so I can use up, start using some of this compound that I've been collecting over the years. These attachments allow me to buff up some cars. I'm going to do my Mitsubishi and also my Porsche, and maybe even my girlfriend's Jag. So this is Joel with Eggrich Racing. The name of this episode is Cheap Way to Fix Your Paint. Porsche 944 85.5, the year to have. The first year of the upgrade, and before the Porsche 944 got all weirded out, in my opinion. This is the classic 944. We're doing some paint fix today, and this is a project that's been ongoing for the past couple years, one little small step at a time. So what I'm doing today is wet sanding. I've got 1500 grit here and 2000, so I did a little bit last night. I started with the 1500, and the 2000 doesn't really do too much, but I wanted to start high in the grits, and so a lot of these areas came pretty clean. It's more about getting for me, since it's a white car, it's more about just getting the dirt out of the color. I've got 600, 1000, 1500, and then, but this stuff is the key. This came with the stuff that some retired gentleman had given me, and I just tried this with a few other things on the car, and I ended up doing the whole car with this stuff. I bought this. All right, hold on. Let's pause for Cat. This is like a cheap Harbor Freight buffer thing, but it does have a double orbital setup. So I think it was like 20 bucks. So what I do is I put this scratch doctor on this, and I basically just buffed the whole car. I mean, obviously I started with just like a small part. The results were pretty good. So that's what kind of leads me to believe this is single stage paint, because it did buff up fairly nicely. And so if it was clear coat, I don't know if that would have worked that way. Not a painting expert. Do your own research. This is just what I'm doing to make the car look better. So I'm gonna see what I can get done on this thing today. I'll show you the other side here. The other side looks pretty nice. It hasn't really been cleaned in a little while, but you can see that there's a fair amount of gloss there. It's morning sun, so. But here's a few other areas aside from the cat footprints. Like here, okay, this is what I'm trying to get rid of. That's the main culprit right there. Is this oxidation, whatever kind of stuff. Okay, so I've moved down to 1000 grit, and now with the 1000 I can really do this whole panel. It's smooth now, because at 1000 I can go over these spots and I can run along that ridge there. It's not going to cut through this paint. This paint is thick and hard. So far there hasn't been anywhere that I've seen where the color is gone through, where I've gone through the color there's one spot here in the door jamb where it came through the color a little bit, but that also, it might be a wear spot from the molding going in and out. So I'm gonna do this whole panel here, all the way to the top there, all the way to the edge, all the way around with 1,000. And this is actually my favorite. So what you do is you put a piece of 1,500 underneath it, so you've got 2 layers stacked up. And so by stacking up those layers, it helps give a nice uniform pressure if the paper bends. So, you know, if you really wanted to, you could do like 3 or 4 layers of sandpaper there, you know, or even leather. I've always wanted to try leather. You know, you could make a pad and then put a chunk of leather in between, and that just gives you that real soft for curves and things. Because from the guitar making world, sanding blocks are something I never buy ever. I've got my sanding block. I made this sanding block out of cutting a block of this foam. As you can see, I cut it on a little bit of a radius there, so that I've got two kind of radiuses. One for that, and then this rounded radius then is good for other rounded areas. You can squeeze it and flatten it out, but it'll contour around stuff nicely. So I do all of this the same way every time. I do the strips, and I do strip and that. I always put a little bit of soap in the water. So this is 1,000, because this stuff isn't quite so bad. So it's one of those things where I'm only taking off what I have to, because I know there's lots of paint underneath, and so there's no hurry. There's no hurry to get down into it. I'd rather just do the surface for a bit, see what happens. And once I can get down to the nice, clean, fresh paint everywhere, then even if I have to come back and clear coat it, at least I've gotten a lot of the work, the hand work done. You know, that's kind of my way of doing things, is when I'm faced with something that could take a long time, but I don't know for sure, I kind of just start small and see what happens. So you can see there's definitely white in the in this whatever I'm sanding, this paint. So this is a single stage paint, which I just love at this point, because it's gonna should make this go pretty easily. But I'm just doing one panel at a time. This is not how people do things. This is how I'm doing it, because this is what I've got in front of me. I got a day or so to kill before things start happening again down here. Real slow, real gentle, so yeah, so I'm using that side of that, and then here I've got a flat piece. So this is going to be more like a traditional sanding pad. And I just kind of do random, combined with lots of change directions. Don't stick in one spot too long, just keep averaging it out. That's really what it is. In my mind, they call it leveling, but in my mind, you're basically just averaging. It's the average of all your strokes. So I'm doing the 600 right here because it's stubborn, it's fighting me. Not a lot of pressure. I'm kind of just dragging, just like that. I'm just dragging it. I'm just dragging it over the surface. Because if there is any particulates of dirt or whatever, you know, I didn't do this whole car with the proper blah blah, you know. But if there is any specks of stuff in there. You just keep washing it and go gentle. Because if you're doing this right and you're really feeling it in your fingers, you'll almost feel it. If there's a speck of sand in there, you'll know right away if you're really feeling your fingers.
This is my life.
I come out to work on my car and there's a cat.
What are you doing there, Stella? You having fun? Wanna go for a ride?
So at this point, I'm out here this morning. You can see the panel that I did yesterday. And here is the door that I didn't do. And in this light, you can kind of see that it's not quite as shiny. Like, see that? You can see the tree kind of in the shade, in the shadow. You don't get a lot of reflection off of this, even though it is pretty shiny. It's pretty close. I mean, there's no way a camera could pick up the difference between the area that I wet sanded and the area that was just buffed. So here's how I'm doing the buffing. I take this Scratch Doctor, and this is the best way to do it I found so far, is you put a little bit on the car, and this stuff will stain anything black, so you really want to tape off your black stuff. But I'm doing this surface this morning, and I'm going to do the hood. But here's the thing that I found that works the best. You really got to get this all around your pad, and you want to get it so that it's soaked into the surface and to the pad in a real even manner, so that when you start it up, it doesn't spit stuff everywhere. So let me plug this thing in.
Yeah.
This is how to not do it.
Okay, here we go.
And there's these little black nibs that are kind of coming up.
It's really hard to see what this is doing. I don't know if this is going to be informative or not, but you get the idea.
Basically, you're buffing the paint, but with the cheapest, fastest way possible. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I got my buffer here, and I'm buffing this with the Scratch Fix stuff. I'm kind of just working one area for a while, just randomly kind of just going around. It seems like it helps a little bit, get a little bit of heat going in it. But it's hard to do with one hand, but you get the idea. So what I've done is I taped it off, which I should have done really in the first place. So if you go to do this, tape it off first. And so the sun sets on another day for this 1985.5 944. Parting shots of the wheels and the sunset.